Good afternoon or evening or morning whenever you're listening. This is episode number 69 of This Microphone Smells Like Bacon. I am your hostess with the mostest, Ryan Tofil. Beside me today is Dan Brown. So Dan Brown usually used to run in the show, but today I guess is going to have to deal with me, so it should be an interesting experience, and I'm sure he's going to give me...
He's in charge.
Yeah.
And everything, he has to say everything.
And whenever I start talking, just get steamrolled. So the biggest exciting news that I can think about recently in terms of what we cover on Unpopular Opinions is the recent UFC fight between light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier and heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic.
It's either or whoever won. Who won?
The light heavyweight the underdog, plus 185, which means if you bet $100, you won $185. And I believe Stipe was at minus 235, so you'd have had to bet 235 to win 100 on him. But the underdog ended up winning. So Dan, you're somebody who very casually watches UFC. What would you say from somebody who doesn't really follow it? What makes you watch a certain event as opposed to ones that you don't care about?
If Joe Rogan says it's a big fight, I'm like... Or, I mean, I would watch it if I had time. Didn't have time last night, so there was that.
Yeah.
But that gets me interested anyway.
So, yeah, Joe Rogan is your instigator there.
I hate fanboys, but I kind of like Joe Rogan.
How long have you been listening to Joe Rogan?
You were there the night I picked him out because he was in the video game. I was like, oh, this is...
Oh, he was like the UFC video game.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is great marketing because all these people are going to watch this and get hooked on this podcast. So I played an episode, and here we are today. So
yeah, so Joe Rogan was in UFC 2. I didn't buy UFC 3. UFC 2 didn't do enough for me to feel like I needed the next one.
We were just the other day, saying how I was saying, I think you were there, how I don't like wrestling video games because there's just so many random buttons that all these random moves.
Yeah, but I was trying to get you to play on the GameCube, and there's literally a punch and a grapple.
Oh, yeah, why didn't we play?
You didn't want to.
Wait, why? No, I remember you saying that, and I was like, oh yeah, let's try it. What?
You went home.
All right, whatever.
So after Dan went home, Brock Lesnar comes ringside, says, hey, Joe Rogan, let me on your podcast sometime. After Daniel Cormier wins the fight, he says, hey, Brock Lesnar, let's get it on in the UFC ring. Brock Lesnar comes in and pushes the new heavyweight champion. And, my girlfriend was at my house and not interested in the fight, so she was in the other room, and I was trying to explain to her what this was, and she's like, Brock Lesnar, like the WWE guy, and so she didn't really understand, because it sounded like WWE shenanigans, that like this new challenger comes in and just starts pushing the newly crowned champion.
Well, yeah, and they got, what's-her-face fighting just a few weeks ago.
Ronda Rousey is now in the WWE, yeah, if that's who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was the other way around, but yeah.
Ronda Rousey went from UFC to WWE.
Right. I knew she was in UFC originally. I thought there might have been someone that went the other way, but maybe...
Well, Brock Lesnar, so he fought in WWE, or acted, whatever, and then went over to UFC... Did all right there, came back to WWE after a trial in the National Football League where he played for the Minnesota Vikings for a preseason. And now he's coming back over to UFC. But you know, it was pretty crazy. Does the stuff like that, you know, because I'm probably going to watch like championship fights no matter what in UFC. For someone who might or might not, how do these extracurricular activities like affect your interest in it? Do you care, or are you just?
Oh man, I don't mind WWE. Like, I like watching random stuff about it with you. But I would not... If I was way more into UFC and all of a sudden they started, like, wearing makeup, like,
yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, you're going to have to draw a line somewhere, and I'm assuming it would be between the point we are now of somebody getting in the ring after a fight and pushing someone and wearing makeup. But... you know, I mean, you've got the stuff with Conor McGregor throwing chairs at a bus and everything.
That's the thing, though. So, I mean, that's just...
Okay.
I don't... What?
Did you ever get any sort of refund for the Mayweather-McGregor?
Not yet. There's like a deadline. Maybe eventually we will.
Oh, well. So... we purchased the Mayweather-McGregor fight and then had technical difficulties like the rest of the world. And, oh, man, what did we buy it through? The UFC, yeah, the UFC website, and then we were supposed to be able to cast it, I believe, and we were just having all sorts of issues, and we missed a little bit of the first round. So, you know, they said that there might be some refunds coming or something like that, and, you know, I don't know if I'll see any of it once Dan gets it, but you know, he's probably got it in his bank account already.
Well, to be fair, I don't think anyone. Oh, I guess we said like $5 a person.
Yeah, and we might have gotten like $20 from the 40 people that came and watched it.
It was a busy night. That might have been our busiest night over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had this TV is on the porch, and then we had seating into the yard, stadium seating, about 3 rows deep, and you know, chairs and booths from restaurants, from Papaya Thai.
Oh.
Can you give your short summary of Papaya Thai?
Oh, jeez. So, man, you think they have like hitmen that would?
I don't know, man. If a place does, it's that gross freaking.
Let's just call it pineapple fries.
Pineapple fries, okay.
Yeah, so we were at. It's a fry food place. Bottom line, it's just plain disgusting. That's the bottom line. That's all I really have to say, other than some shenanigans. We were trying to buy a fish tank off them, which is kind of fish tank from a...
Okay, so, but, I am just like a guy who does fish tanks. I don't know. I've got like 3 in my house and 1 in my personal office at work.
Friggin' fish girl on your shirt.
Yeah. Bette Midler as Fish Girl. So you just got out of telling the story because you started screwing it up, and I had to take over. But I was supposed to let you narrate.
All right, so Saturday.
Wait, hang on. But let me tell them why we're doing this, okay? So you know, I'm a fish tank connoisseur or whatever, and like one of my most prized possessions is this fish tank coffee table, and everyone that comes in to my house, it's like on display right as you walk into my house. And the CEO of our company, you know, had been over and seen this and asked me to do something with a fish tank in the main lobby of this new building at work. And I was given a budget that I shouldn't have said okay to. I should have said it's probably going to cost a little more than that, but I just did the math too quickly, and $1,000 for a massive fish tank plus all the decorations and all the fish. I was like, yeah, okay. What this meant is I had to go to the cheapest place that I could when buying the original fish tank.
All right. So we're looking for like a super cheap fish tank.
Super big.
I didn't know that. It's super big and super cheap. I didn't know the budget was that tight till just now, but that's all right. Because the rest of the story is Man, Saturday morning, had to rent a pickup truck.
Yeah, so that...
Which is fine, because we got $1 million of insurance, so you know.
I did, yeah. Yeah, I bought... because the company, out of this $1,000 budget, I was not fricking around, you know, so I figured if I smash this pickup truck, I don't want to be liable for anything. I'll just have the company buy the insurance. What's coming out of the budget? But, you know, I made sure that I was able to do some damage if I wanted to with this rented pickup truck.
So we show up, it's like an hour away, show up at freaking Pineapple Fries, and they take us all the way to the back, and it's just plain gross. Like, there's some other empty fish tanks there, just like caked with salt. The floors are the grimiest floors you've ever seen.
There's like this synthetic little like creek or river when you first walked in that at one time would have been like awesome with like foliage and stuff, but now it's basically just like a standing tub of like turtles and turtle filth. And this is in a restaurant, like you would be looking at it while you're eating, and you get in there and it just smells like grease from a mile away.
Yeah, it's, tell you what, I got one piece of bad news for you. We're going to make it work. We'll figure something out. But this old sucker is not plugged in. Only yours is.
Why don't we fix it? Can you fix it while I'm explaining the papaya tie? Or we could start over?
No, we're good.
We're good.
It'll just sound weird, but we'll figure it out.
Okay, it looks like he's got it. All right, well, so...
You got me now? How do I sound now?
Woo!
Oh, I cracked it there.
There's nobody on the other side now or ever.
No, I'm on the bottom. You're on the top. Yeah, see?
No, I meant like on the other side of cyberspace listening to this.
Oh.
Yeah, don't get excited.
Not one person? Hey, can you shoot me a tweet if you're listening? At you, me, and BTC.
His phone goes nuts. Joe Rogan texts him, tweets him, thanks for shout out, at you, me, BTC.
So we started getting Shylocked or something.
Oh, okay, so we go in there, and it was like $300 for some massive 200-gallon fish tank, but like the whole thing was like glass and brick. Like, so it's me, you, my brother, and our friend who is now my girlfriend. We go there, and he just said, bring a few friends to help move it. So that's what I did. And no joke, this thing it was thousands of pounds.
Yeah, oh yeah.
When we first got there. So we go and we see how big it is, and we try lifting it up. So me and Dan and my brother were like trying to lift like one corner and we barely get it off the ground like an inch. And this is, you know, 3 full-grown men, at least in terms of body, not like maturity level.
Yeah, you count me as like half.
So 2.5 grown men, and like we couldn't get this thing off the ground. The guy says, no, it's going to be fine. Like, I'll help you. We'll get help. We got trolleys or whatever. So we're like, okay, we had to go buy stuff to tie this down in the back of the truck. So we go, and I'm, you know, eating into the budget even more. And then we come back, and this guy, he's using his English as a second language, like to his advantage. Like every 5 minutes when he's telling us that he just said something, like he'll help us move it, or the price of it, or like, you know, what comes with it or something. He'll say, no, I didn't say that. So and there's just no way we're getting this thing. And the guy starts like mocking us. He's like, you're strong boys. I thought you could get it up. We're like, dude, like what? Like, I texted him, and I wanted to be able to make sure that we can move it, because I know that fish tanks are extremely heavy. Maybe it was filled up and we didn't have anywhere to empty the water easily. So like, you've got to have some beef when you're moving big fish tanks. And he said, it'll be fine. Just use a couple friends and we'll help you. And then we get there and we can't move it. And he starts like making fun of us for not being strong enough to lift this thing a ton, dude. I am not joking. It was so heavy So then I got him to sell us a different fish tank they had for sale, and I got him down to $100, and that's the one that's in our office now, but it's 125 gallons, and that was still a chore moving in, and I had to like restore the wooden cabinet that it's sitting on and everything. That was not worth the time. But while we're there, they tell us, look around and see if there's anything else in the store that you might want. So I saw these booths that just that people would sit on, and we were moving into a new office building at the time, and I was like, okay, like my office is big enough to hold these. It'd be cool to have like a restaurant style booth. So we drive an hour home and drop off the fish tank. I drive an hour back, and the guy tries to like double the price of what he said that these booths would be. And I'm like, no, man, no. and so I gave him what we said the original price was going to be on these two new booths, or two new to me booths. We get them in the truck, and he says that this owner's like gonna come after me or whatever because he doesn't like being ripped off, but he's not gonna deal with me anymore. So I put these things in the truck, and I drive them home, and this was probably a year ago. They smelled like greasy Thai food so bad that we couldn't even use them like in an office or any indoor setting. And I didn't think about it. I just thought that was the air in the restaurant or whatever. And these booths reeked so bad that they ended up as part of our porch furniture because I hosed them down and we figured that they would air out or whatever, and they just never did, and I could never use them in my office, so they ended up being porch furniture that people came and sat on when they watched Mayweather and McGregor.
That was fun. I didn't know all of that. I didn't know it was that crazy when you went back. I didn't go back with you.
No.
Didn't sound fun.
I mean, he knew what he told me and then told me a higher price because he understood that I had just driven an hour, so like I'd already sunk some cost into it. But, I wouldn't budge on it, and I think he knew that they were just going to end up throwing him out anyways. So I ended up giving him like $40 for these two booths when he was... That's what he originally said, and then he changed it when we came back. He meant like $40 each, and then wanted to not include the cushions. It would be $100 for that. And this guy, man, I do remember that. I don't think he had two teeth pointing in the same direction. Those things are crazy.
Yeah, that was something else.
But on that porch, we we've got the gaming set up outside, so that's where we were trying to play a wrestling game on Nintendo GameCube.
We recorded from there maybe twice. So
yeah,
they've all seen it. It's beautiful.
Nice porch, yeah. Also, if anyone wants a huge 70-inch television that's all smashed to smithereens.
Did you check your equipment today? With all the wind and the friggin' rain?
Yeah, I actually, so there were monsoon warnings, and I drove home from work, which ended up being like a 10 or 15 minute expedition because people can't drive here in the weather. But everything was okay. Like, I moved stuff under shelter from the backyard and everything. Stuff was a little scattered from the 4th of July get together we had. But, man, I'll tell you what, anybody who lives in a place where people know how to drive, just consider yourself lucky. I come from Western New York where it snows 11 months out of the year, and there people have a Molson in one hand and Tim Hortons cup in the other, and they're driving through 3 feet of snow in a Toyota Corolla from 1994, and nobody has any problems. Where I live now, it is extremely nice, and at the first sign of weather, people just lose their minds. Like 20 miles under the speed limit.
Oh, at least. Friggin' 20 miles an hour if you're lucky.
Does the YMB BTC audience know where you live?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure I've said it before.
So the Phoenix area is where I am now, and they have extremely nice roads here. Debris everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if anybody
it's not
knows.
litter. It's like large debris.
Yeah. Please include that with your tweet to Dan. If you're listening, explain, like, just like I-17, the biggest road in the state. They're just like it's very nice. It's very well paved. No potholes or anything.
Right.
And then there's just like
a 2x4.
Yeah, and a lazy boy, like right in the middle of the center lane.
Yeah.
So that you got to do an evasive maneuver and around it, and just hope that the person going 85 behind you also sees it. Like, I don't understand, man. Like, it's just garbage bags with what I can only assume are bodies in there on the side of the street. And I have no idea where it comes from, and nowhere else that I've ever lived or been have I seen this. It's like people just load up the back of their truck and like then drive down the road.
Throw it out bit by bit. I mean, yeah, because I noticed the difference every time I go home for a bit, and I'm like, okay, there's a ton of litter here. Like, there's McDonald's cups all through the grass, but it's so different. Like, there's like just gigantic boards or sheets or There was a tree in the road today, but I guess I give them an excuse for that.
Tree.
Yeah,
I saw that tree a couple times because before we came to record, I stopped to grab a snack at the gas station, and I realized that
he's poor. Send money to the tipping address below, and I'll tell him about it. I'll keep it, but I'll tell him about it.
Yeah, I got to set up my own Patreon or something because I'm sure the wild amount of donations that are coming in to support this great show. We've made
6 millibits in the past like 3 years, which comes out to, even with Bitcoin going up as much as it has, and even with the forks where like that 6 millibits becomes 6 Bitcoin and 6 Bitcoin Cash or whatever. Even then, it's probably worth like $50.
So what am I doing this for?
Money.
Just enjoyment.
Yeah, it's for you guys. We love you. Oh yeah, why are you poor?
Not as much as I love this terrible gas station food. So I'm starving. Like, I'm really hungry on my way over here. So I stop at the gas station, and I bought $3 worth of food. $3.17 it came to, and I open my wallet, and my credit card's not there because I had given it to my girlfriend yesterday for her to buy something. And so there's an old credit card that I'm pretty sure I had canceled, but I'm like just hoping because there's no cash in there. I have no idea where my debit card is, which is another problem. And the card gets declined. So I'm at this gas station trying to buy like meat tortillas off the grill. And the guy's like, nah, it's declined. So I had to speed over here through the monsoon where there's down trees and police and the city out trying to fix it and get the roads going again. And I had to get $3 from Dan. So that
Where'd you get the 17 cents?
There was a quarter in my car.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm actually, I've got 8 cents more in my pocket now than I did an hour or two ago.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm learning a lot here. This angle here tweaks the back a little bit. You get that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so
we got a bad back to begin with.
Now we know. We've known for a while. Like, we got to fill this up.
Sometimes when it's me and Brian, I'll point here.
Like a weatherman?
Or just like anybody who expects a graphic to come up. And I know that there's never going to be any graphic there.
If you send it to me, no, that's too much work. It'll literally double the editing time to figure out how to like overlay a graphic on part of the video. We could do it live, no problem. OBS will just pop that right in.
You mean just with like a piece of paper? I have to print out like physical photos of anything that I want to put up.
Yeah.
So 25 minutes in, we've talked about absolutely nothing. What I was trying to get to before I got sidetracked was we were playing GameCube. And
yeah.
and I don't know if you love the GameCube, but you love the Wii. You love World at War
yeah.
on the Wii. Dan Brown, send in your Wii gamer tag or whatever they call it, and
No, you had to use friend codes. They would give you like a 16-digit friend code.
Send in your Wii friend code, and Dan Brown says that he will beat you at World at War. He thinks that he was pretty good, and I'm like, Dan, like there were only 8-year-olds playing that game because they had that in Wii Sports, and they had gotten tired of bowling.
Man, it's been a while. I probably wouldn't beat anyone. People started hacking it after maybe like a year or so because they couldn't do like updates, like over-the-air updates just like weren't a thing for the Wii. So they had like double XP weekends, but I think they were just like hard-coded into the disc. Like if the date is this weekend, then you get double XP. Because like there was no like, I don't know how. Maybe
there was like no communication with the...
There were definitely no updates, no DLC, no new maps. I mean, maybe double XP weekend was part of online somehow. But...
I didn't mind the Wii when I didn't have to use the motion controls. I was always just so frustrated at anything I had to point at the screen. It didn't seem like it worked that well.
Okay, with Mario Kart, yeah, turning with the wheel is like it's not annoying. It's just nowhere near as easy as the joystick in Mario Kart. World at War, Call of Duty, like, yeah, it was a crappy game, no question. But I, like that, when you get used to it, it's actually pretty legit to actually be pointing compared to using a joystick to shoot someone.
So that's your preferred method of shooters?
Well, I mean, I haven't done it since then, and I would suck if I had to right now, but I love the concept. Because... it's just an added, obviously it's not real, but it's an added element that's like similar.
I guess. I mean, I feel like it has to work almost flawlessly for me to consider that a positive.
You didn't think it worked? I mean, the pointing was...
Okay, yeah, I
if
guess,
your sensor bar was messed up, fine.
Okay, I guess while you... are continuously like pointing at the screen and you're going to keep your thing censored. What I remember it most from was Super Mario Galaxy, where like not all parts of the game required you to be pointing it at the screen. So then like every once in a while you just like have to find it.
Like reach up.
Yeah, you're like twisting your arm
that's
and
so
stuff.
different because this we wouldn't even sit on the couch. We would stand in front of the TV with our hands like this and just point and I mean,
isn't there like a gun?
Yeah, I don't think anyone would use that.
Okay.
Because you needed the nunchuck. You couldn't, the gun like mounted into something. Maybe you could, but I never did.
Right.
So you just tweak your wrist a little bit. So
Duck Hunt, 1985, most advanced video game ever, according to Dan, because you get to point.
How did that even work? Did that have a sensor bar? What the frick? I've wondered that since like the 3rd grade.
Well, you want me to ruin it for you?
Oh, no. It wasn't real?
No, it was real, but I'm just saying it's like...
I thought you were going to say they just randomly picked a duck to explode. See how long they can get away with it.
So what would happen is when you shot, there would be a 1-frame white square over where the duck was. So that's why the NES Zapper was called the light gun. It was actually like the TV was shooting at the gun. So when you click the gun, it would show where the duck was, 1 frame of a white square. Yeah. And there was a sensor in the gun where if it detected a flash of white light, then it would register as a hit. So it was like the TV was shooting the gun.
That's even better than a sensor bar, though, because you literally have to be pointing at that white square, which is the duck.
Or something else that it thinks
like the light.
I mean, I've never tried playing Duck Hunt. Like, in cheating, I guess. I don't know. I think you can just point it like at the middle of the screen from really close, and it'll just be so bright that the controller will pick it up. But yeah, that's how the duck hunt thing worked. But I mean, it did blow my mind for a while too, and then I found out how it worked, and I just thought that was the most clever thing I'd ever heard of in my life, because TV shooting the gun.
I'll agree with that. Like I said, yeah, it's more better than a friggin' sensor bar. They were way ahead of the Wii.
Way ahead of the Wii. Also, that NES, it was like a box shape, so you could set drinks on it and stuff, and it doubled as a surface for your snacks.
You could do that with the PS4, not the PS3. PS3, your drink's just toppling right off.
Yeah. They
got away from it for a little bit,
right.
And then they're like, oh, wait, this is important.
They actually, they did change that with the Super Nintendos. They made it very ridgy, I guess if that's a word, on top, because people kept putting bowls of cereals on the NES and then like dumping it into the maybe it had a fan thing in there, or just like airflow vents or whatever, but they would just dump. Cereal milk is so disgusting, dude. Like after you're done with it, like people are, I almost want to gag just thinking about it.
You're a word off there. The correct phrase is, milk is so disgusting. I just look at it and I want to cringe.
You hate milk?
I can't stand milk.
Oh, dude, I don't like milk either. I will not drink milk if it is not from my own house, because I don't know how long it's been in somebody's fridge. I don't know if
that's
they left
fair.
it out overnight.
Did just this weekend.
Oh man, milk stories, dude. It's so.
I was making eggs. Nothing bad happened. Nothing bad happened. Nobody noticed. But what happened was, I was with my family, some friends at a cabin. Woke up, made breakfast. I was making eggs. Mm-hmm. I dumped a little bit of milk in the eggs because some people do that. Made the eggs. Everyone ate them. It was fine. But like an hour later, we were like packing up to leave, and someone like took the milk and like took a sniff and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm throwing this out."
Oh, dude, that makes my stomach churn, dude. Like I don't know what it is about milk, but it's like dairy in general, dude. Like I would never just like eat some yogurt that someone offered me or something. Ice cream's okay because it's frozen. And like I feel like I could tell if it's not frozen at that moment, or it hasn't been frozen at some point.
Even melted ice. Like I hate milk, and I know that melted ice cream is milk, but I'm still fine with melted ice cream.
Man, okay. I remember I must have been in middle school, and I went over to this friend's house, and I just remember looking at this this just bowl of having the cereal his little brother had left out from the morning, or as soggy Fruit Loops. Oh,
man.
I'm usually not too bad about
my theory is, or not my theory, my fact is that no normal human being, like adult, eats cow food, right? And furthermore, no normal human adult eats baby food. Okay. So why would we eat baby cow food?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll tell you what sounds even more gross to me than milk is breast milk.
Yeah. Well, it's not.
I'm not drinking that either. I saw on the internet somebody was selling breast milk soap that they had made.
I mean, it's better than eating it.
You would use that, though?
No, I wouldn't use it, but...
In your tweet, include, are you watching Why Are Phoenix Roads Filled with Couches? And would you use breast milk soap?
We got to get an Unpopular Opinion Twitter handle. I'm sure that's taken, but we can't talk about it now because whatever we come up with, they'll take before we remember to.
Depends on when you put this episode up.
Oh, yeah, last week is late. Sorry. It's coming out tonight, which is Monday night. This show you'll hear on Wednesday.
Last week was pretty good. I don't know why I was feeling so feisty yesterday, but I started literally yelling and sweating. a little bit in last week's.
That could be partly my fault. I keep the AC way above Ryan's preferences.
Yeah, I'm very cold-blooded, I guess. I don't know. I'm just, man, I like the cold, and I live in the least cold spot besides like El Salvador or something.
I can't. I can barely stand it now. I go over his place. It's like 68 degrees, which for some people.
No, and at night after 8 AC off all day, 68 once 8 o'clock hits, and the electric rates aren't tripled anymore.
Yeah, the thing is, in Phoenix, okay, most houses in the Northeast or whatever, you set the thermostat at 70, 72 maybe, and that's about it. 68, 72. And
most of the time that's the heat.
Sure, yeah, but I'm saying in the summer, whatever, like
summer, in the summertime when the weather is hot. Do we have to pay royalties if I started singing?
If you get it good enough, they'll detect it. So
get it.
You gotta like sneeze every 2 seconds. But the biggest thing is like when it's 120 outside every day, all of a sudden like 80 degrees inside is totally fine. At least to me. Yeah, I know Ryan disagrees. But my thermostat is either like 77, 78, or 79. That's it. Like, and you walk in off the porch and you're still like, compared to at home, you know, if you came in out of like 85 and humid and walked into 78 and humid, screw that. Like what?
Yeah, okay. I don't know how much of a difference it would be. I mean, but you probably grew up like 4 hours south of me.
Pretty much.
So that's got to be a few degrees.
A little bit, yeah.
Where I come from in western New York, it's right off Lake Erie. When you're just trying to pick like an arbitrarily high number because you're complaining about the heat, you're like, oh, like it's like 80 degrees out there.
For us, it might have been 90 for us. Like, oh, it's like 90 degrees out there. I'm not working today.
Yeah, it's like 80 degrees. Like, what are you wearing pants for, you maniac? And here, 80 degrees is definitely on the low end of the spectrum, and I hate it. I start sweating when it's like 70. So, there's this thing called supercooling, and the idea is you get like the bones of the house cooled down. So as they charge you out the nose during the day to run your AC. So at 8 o'clock, when electricity prices aren't doubled anymore, set it to 68, and then the idea is it cools down like the frame, the structure of the house, and so then the house doesn't have time to heat up the next day because you've got the cold, you know, right down in there.
I like the concept, especially obviously it saves me money. Then whatever, I'm all for it. Except that I spent the night there a few nights ago, and it was just I couldn't do it. It was freezing. I mean, I didn't have a blanket.
He didn't have a blanket.
So, didn't help. But
wouldn't you want to be cold without a blanket? That way, so when you use a blanket,
sure,
you feel
fine.
fine.
I know that feeling. Yeah, like people say, like it feels good to be cold outside or like cold in the air,
weather, dude,
but warm under the covers. But man, it was cold. And the hardest thing would be the fact that I'm like, I am spending money to make myself not hot, but freezing. Like I couldn't bring myself to do that.
But the idea is that if you set it to 68, your house will only get up to high 70s or 80 during the day, as opposed to if you just set your AC at 77 and let it run, you would be spending more money.
I've been meaning to check this for like a week now, because I believe it was last Wednesday. There was a minor experiment where normally my fiance's here all day, and the thermostat just stays at like 79. If she's not here, I would just, during the day while I'm gone, I would just let it crank it up to whatever, 85, 89, whatever, just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, though, because when I come home after work and it's been set at 86, it runs for like an hour, 2 hours straight to get it back down to 78.
Yeah.
So the question is it even worth turning the temperature up during the day? Is it even worth doing that? Because then it's just going to work so hard to cool it down when you get home from work. So I did
Yes. Okay. So the idea with supercooling is you're doing that at night when you are paying so much less to lower it a degree because the electricity is cheaper at that time and it's not as hot outside at that time.
Yeah. No, I agree. It makes sense, and maybe it works, but
he's too cold.
Well, exactly. Okay. If you're sure it works, are you sure it works? Have you checked?
I don't know. I don't do that. I pay the rent and my roommate takes care of the
if I was sure that it worked, I mean, fine. I'd be all over it. I would just pile the covers on and I'd be comfy and whatever. But the fact that I'm not sure that it works, and then I think, like, what if I'm spending money to make myself miserable?
You're not making yourself miserable.
All right, you got to go for a second. I'm trying to log in and see what my bill was last Wednesday because I've been meaning to check this.
Okay, so there are 2 muffins sitting in an oven. And one muffin goes, oh, man, it's got to be like 350 degrees in here. And the other muffin goes, holy cow, a talking muffin.
That's weird, dude. Talking muffins?
Yeah. So 2 fish are sitting in a tank, and one fish turns to the other and goes, do you know how to drive this thing?
Why would the fish tank drive?
Because it's like an army tank, dude.
They have those? Hey guys, today's show is brought to you by Chronologic.network. Chronologic is an Ethereum-based project that aims to solve time-related problems on the blockchain. Through Chronologic's 3 core products, the Ethereum alarm clock, debt smart contracts, and the day token minting mechanism, they solve the problems of payment scheduling, crypto loan time constraints, and unstable token launches. Find out more at Chronologic.network.
What's your AC bill?
Okay, where are we at here? So I got logged in, daily and hourly usage. This would be a lot more meaningful if I remembered for sure what my hypothesis was.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure last Wednesday was the day that I turned it off, or like up. I turned the temperature up during the day.
What's that drug that they give to like overdose victims?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I know exactly what you mean. I don't remember what it's called. Why, you think I'm overdosing here?
No, I was just wondering because like they just go around dishing those things out to junkies and stuff, but like...
So it wasn't last Wednesday. It was like the Wednesday before that because
but
last
like someone
Wednesday
with asthma or something, they have to pay out the nose for an inhaler, or like costs a lot for an EpiPen. But because, you know what I mean?
Wait, what's the argument? No, I don't know what you mean.
Saying like, why is an EpiPen so expensive for this kid who can't help that they're allergic to bees? But then we just give this thing to people who are overdosing and they're not paying for it.
Well,
I wish I knew what the name of it was.
Why would... I don't think it's any different. Like,
but because you're paying for EpiPens, dude, those things are expensive.
Yeah, but then if they deliver one or the other, like from an ambulance, it's the same situation. You know, either you pay for it if you can, or you don't, or your insurance pays for it, or you don't. Like, there's not a difference.
I've always heard that people just like throwing away medical bills. Like, how would you ever in a million years get away with that? Like, you would have somebody after you the rest of your life.
It's sure, but you know, at a certain point, like, what do you care about your credit score? They're still required by law to take care of you when you walk into the ER.
Hang on.
Chug. I can't figure this friggin' thing out. I gotta
just hold it up so they can see it.
No, it doesn't go back far enough.
It doesn't go back far enough.
At least not the chart I'm looking at. I even changed the date.
Also, his phone pattern's a little thing like that.
Like a what? Who?
Yeah, it goes like that, dude. I just saw.
You're right.
So anyone, 6 people on YouTube.
Oh, here we go. Now it went back. So June 27th was cheaper. So that was a Wednesday. The Wednesday I'm thinking of, and that's the Wednesday where I turned it off during the day. That can't be right, because the 26th, it shows on peak and off peak usage. The 26th it must have been, because the 26th has virtually 0 on peak usage, which means the 26th must have been where I turned the temperature up during the day. But jeez, this is so hard to know. It's like right in between the day before and the day after it. So like, how the frick am I supposed to know?
What's oh man, what's your go-to would you rather question? Like, would you rather jump out of a airplane and know your parachute didn't open?
Oh yeah. No, it's would you rather die instantly in a car crash, never see it coming, or jump out of an airplane and you don't die instantly, but you don't have a parachute or whatever, it breaks, and you know for like a solid, how long does it take? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? That you're about to die.
I guess it depends on how high you are. I guess if you're just...
Well, let's say you just had like 3 blunts.
If you're jumping off the moon. Anyways, yeah, I'd probably rather skydive with a maybe working parachute than listen to you go on about your energy consumption.
I don't. The conclusion there is I have no clue. It didn't work.
Yeah, so
I got to try again.
We don't know who was hot, who was cold. I just accidentally put the microphone in my mouth for a little bit. We have not covered anything like we usually do on Unpopular Opinions. When Brian Chai comes in hot, that little guy could not be with us today, but I think he may be back next week. So if he wants to take Dan's spot or my spot, he's probably who everyone's really clamoring for. Somebody told me over the weekend that he used to try competitive eating.
Did he win?
I don't know. Not like Joey Chestnut did, who set the hot dog, the Nathan's hot dog eating record. 74 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Took Barry Bonds 162 games to hit 74 home runs. Excuse me.
It's not as bad as you and like leftover cereal.
Yeah, that's some gross stuff. No.
I don't know. Like, if I just think about that much volume of food being inside of you, it just like
the grossest part to me is that he separates the hot dogs from the buns and then dunks the buns in water so he can just like turn it into like, I hate the word soggy. The word soggy is so gross. Turn it into like, so my goodness, turn it into like a freaking bread puree because he waters it down.
I mean, yeah, that I get. I mean, that part makes some level of sense. Like, I don't care I don't care about what you do with the food. I care about the fact that there's that much of it, like, suddenly in your body. Like, what does your body do with it? Like, does it just come out like hardly digested?
I don't know, dude. People get upset about the word moist, but I can't. Soggy is so much worse. Moist, something's just a little wet. Okay, a lot of things can be. Something gets soggy. It's. I'm not joking.
You need
either.
a bucket?
I think it's just because I correlate the word soggy with cereal.
So you want me to say it 7 times? Soggy cereal.
I correlate it with bad cereal that has been left in a bowl with milk. So much. Speaking of Joe Rogan, dude, that's the one thing on Fear Factor I ever saw where I was like, no. They had to drink curdled milk.
I'm out. Yeah, the food challenge would get me. There were days.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, I'll hop around on top of a truck going 85 miles per hour, no problem, or whatever they had to do. But, those freaking food challenges.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, when I was young and Fear Factor was on.
You didn't know, yeah.
I don't think I was grossed out by anything. In those days, I probably would have eaten anything, and just to win some money.
Yeah.
These days,
and to meet Joe Rogan, I know you're such a big fan of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty cool. He's all right. But I mean, I don't know. These days, I don't know how I would define the change, but I don't think I would eat freaking rotten scorpions.
Yeah, the eating things, I mean, as you can tell.
For $50K?
Yeah, but there's $50K, a chance at $50K.
Yeah.
Like, you got to beat out 6 other people, you know, getting a life-size bowling ball thrown at you or something. I don't know.
Wouldn't that just be a bowling ball?
It's meant a human size, a size like a 6-foot bowling ball, ready to crush you and kill you.
Like Indiana Jones?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like what percentage would you do something that had a 1% chance of killing you at that time for $50,000?
No. 1%. If someone like literally like outlined it and said 1% die, like these are the statistics, this is where we got them from, for 50 grand, not a chance.
So like there's a revolver, right? And it's got
50 holes in one bullet.
100. It's got 100.
Oh, 100 holes in one bullet. Yeah.
It can handle 100 rounds.
No.
And there's one in there, and somebody spins it.
Yeah. Not a chance I would do that. But the weird thing is...
For how
like, you asking how many holes there have to be?
No, well, okay, let's leave it at 100, because then it works into the percentages more easily. Like, how much money then? Yeah.
I don't... Man... I don't think I could. I mean, even you offer me $1 million, like what am I going to do with $1 million? Like I don't, or I could just kill it's 1 in 100. That the change would not have to be the money. The change would have to be like 1 in 1,000,000. Then it's fine. Like, okay, no chance.
1 in 1,000,000. Like, there's a 1 in 1,000,000 chance that you don't make it to work.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So at that point, I would be like, okay, this is no different than me driving a car 4 blocks. So yeah, fine. But 1 in 100.
I mean, I probably wouldn't do it for. I don't know. I mean, I am luckily debt-free right now, but I would like a house. Like, I feel like a house is something that I have to buy. I would love to do that without having to go into debt. I mean,
yeah,
you know, and if you can't afford a house,
you think
just
almost killing yourself is different, is better than debt?
Oh, I don't know, dude. if you listen to Dave Ramsey, it is.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Call him up, dude. Say, my friend giving me this Russian roulette 1 in 100 chance that I die. He's gonna give me 50,000. He's gonna ask you what your financial situation is. At least.
He's like, other than the house, how far in are you?
And what's your take-home pay? Yeah.
Now, is that just you or you and your spouse?
Is that before or after your death-defying stunts? You have a revolver.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to say that? I don't know if that's anything.
Whatever.
But then you also have an AR-15, and those things are like 40 cents a shot.
Yeah.
Now I bought a 22 rifle. I really don't ever anticipate having to use it. I'm not really a hunter. It's just something. I don't know. It was time to get a gun. You know what I mean? And those things are only like 3 or 4 cents a shot. But do you feel like guilty or whatever? Like, doesn't that seem like a lot of money each time you pull the trigger when you're practicing? Like,
yeah, sort of. I mean,
like, are you thinking about it at the time?
No. When I pull the trigger, no. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun. I don't do it. I do it once every 3-6 months.
What about a casino? Like, is it actually clicking in your brain? Boy, have I ever gambled? I don't think so.
Gambled what?
With you? Like,
yeah. We played some roulette. We played some slots.
I didn't play though, did I?
Yeah. Huh? We went to the casino multiple times.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. There's that old classic story where apparently that's when we became friends. And then there's the bachelor party. And then there was...
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I didn't gamble at that bachelor party. I know for sure.
The first time we played slots and roulette, there's no way you didn't play then.
I don't think
we got
I did.
like rewards cards and everything.
What?
Yeah.
Man, I'm not a gambler. I never have any luck when I do try it, but I just get too stressed out. Maybe part of it is knowing what kind of a problem I have with control and stuff, and I know that it's such a slippery slope for me. In my life, I've lost like $7 or $8 at a casino, maybe 2 or 3 times. I lost $20 one time, and I lost $60 during an entire Vegas trip once. I was there with a couple friends, and me and my girlfriend, I think I spent $40 and she spent $20, and not one time did we get back more than we wagered. And so I had brought $200 and just ended up pocketing $140 of it because it was so not fun to just instantly lose. But when I'm playing, I'm definitely thinking like even if it's just a quarter, like I'm thinking like, okay, I might as well just chuck that quarter like to the other side of the casino and everything. Like it is so stressful to me. That's to gamble, which is different than shooting a gun. I was just wondering if you think about like the price every time you pull the trigger.
That is why I very, 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 very strongly prefer poker over anything else. I've only done slots with you. I'm not even convinced you have. Because I don't remember that. Okay, maybe I didn't even. No, I did. Well, whatever. Then I've only done blackjack because I was in Vegas and it was fun, and I was with you, and it was like I dropped $20 and it was fun. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit of slots, a little bit of blackjack, and online dice with Bitcoin, which all my fans know. Like, I've done it. I've messed with the strategies. What, soggy ice?
I got too much ice.
Soggy ice?
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty much done with Bitcoin dice. Like, I like the concept. I'm glad it's possible with Bitcoin, but I just don't do it.
How could you do that? I mean, I guess they would get like investigated. Anything online where it's not PvP, I would be too nervous that the house is just.
Actually, that's one of the reasons
They've got if it usually pays out 90%, that they're actually only paying out 70, and you would never know because you don't see anyone else doing
that. That's actually one of the reasons Bitcoin gambling is so popular, is because they can mathematically make it. They call it provably fair. Ooh. So I don't know every bit of the math, but essentially it has to do with random numbers and encryption and hashing. They publish a hash of the secret that and they have a new secret every week, and then at the end of the week they reveal the secret that they've used to generate the results of all these bets. They reveal the secret. They can prove that it was the secret because the hash works out or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then what you can do is go and look at all of your bets from that week and mathematically say, okay, if this was the secret, then this should have been the result of this bet. And yes, it was, or no, it wasn't.
Sounds a little bit above my pay grade.
There's also, similarly, there's a service that did all of that on the blockchain. So it would you would send money to an address, and then based on the, whatever transaction ID or whatever, which was supposed to be random, it would just instantly send back the right amount or whatever you won or lost. So it's pretty much magic. Yeah. But anyway, I'll play poker all day long because yes, the house wins, but at least I have a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's reasonable. Just also, if on average you're going to lose a few dollars, there aren't constant transactions, so like if you're playing slots for an hour, that means you've probably pulled it 300 times. So, like, nothing says that you had to win anything back and you were just gambling your money 300 times. Whereas poker, you going in exactly, like, what you're putting at risk. Whereas,
yeah.
And I know from the outside, it seems like, okay, well, then just, like, control yourself once you go to a casino. And if you're pulling the slots, and you lose $20 and that was what you would have spent on poker, then you just need to walk away from the slots. But, like, that's how they get you at casinos, is the whole psychology or sociology of it. I'm not sure exactly which one it would fit under, because it has to do with a mass of people, yet it's how each individual one perceives it. They're trying to make you stay there, and they're making you not realize how long you've sat there, and they're making it really fun, and they don't make you want to leave. So, if you sat down at a slot machine and you lost the $20 you came to wager with within 10 minutes, you're thinking to yourself, okay, if I lost all of my money that quickly, like the law of averages says my luck has to turn around. So let's withdraw some more, or go get some cash, or go to the car and get my credit card, or whatever it is. That's just why poker seems a little less dangerous to me than slot machines.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea that you're more of a factor in winning or losing. The problem is, I was telling you just past week or two, I remember saying how, like, the worst place to be with video games is where you're, like, playing several hours per week. So, like, you're wasting a little bit of time, but not enough to actually be good.
Yeah, but you're just like wasting it.
Which can happen with poker, where it's like, okay, so I'm playing like 3 or 4 tournaments a week at like $10-20 a tournament. So now I'm out $100 a week, but I'm not playing enough to actually win anything.
Yeah, and be good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, and I understand where you're coming from with the video game, and it made sense when you explained it, and just now it struck me as like, okay, so who cares if you get really good at Call of Duty? Like, okay, so you got, what are you, in the top 1,000 in the world? Well, there are still 950 people that are going to dominate you.
Yeah, I would define being good enough to justify, well, whatever. I just want a 1.0 KD. If I'm above 1.0, if I'm winning most games, then I'm fine. The problem is, even when I put in...
You put that on a resume?
No, I'm just saying that to me feels like, okay, well, at least I'm better than on average. I'm better than I am. I kill more than I die.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that too. That, like, within the context of the game, I would rather help my team more often than I hurt my team. I don't know.
I'm not saying that justifies playing 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, but that would make me feel a lot better about it. When I feel terrible about it is when I'm dropping 20 hours a week and I'm at 0.8, 0.9.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we got up to that with Battlefield 1. 20.
No, 20. No way. 20 hours a week.
5 hours a week.
If we did get to 20 hours a week, it was only for like maybe 1 or 2 weeks ever. Other than that, the average was probably like 4 or 5.
Yeah, and when that one was when it came out, and pert near all I was going to town on. So here's been, at least compared to our first 68 episodes, what was a little bit different episode of Unpopular Opinions, but I thank everyone for watching, and I thank Daniel Brown for taking time out of his busy Bitcoin schedule.
On the off chance that it just sounds horrible for the first 10 minutes, or if we can't make it work, then we could mention now for anyone that listened and wondered why it just randomly started and we made some references to things that weren't actually in the show. Now you know why, because we screwed up the first few minutes.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, if we are unable to use our intro... Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unpopular Opinions, and I am the hostess with the mostest. Welcome to episode number 69 of This Microphone Smells Like Bacon. I'm Ryan Tofil. This is Daniel Brown, and that's all for this week.
Peace out. We love you.